Recently, on November 20th, 2024, Gautam Adani was indicted by US federal prosecutors for orchestrating $250 million bribe scheme to secure favorable solar energy contracts in India. The term indictment means a formal charge or accusation of a serious crime. The Eastern District of New York also names 7 other executives, which includes Gautam Adani, Adani's nephew Sagar Adani, and former CEO of Adani Green Energy, Vineet Jain, among the others. If proven guilty, Adani and his associates might see a prison time of 20 years, and that is a big if. Why is that Adani Group is always in trouble? Be it in 2023 when Hindenburg report called Adani the largest con of corporate history, to all the bribery charges that are charged right now. And that too, why is US involved in both the cases? And why is Indian government turning a blind eye? There is not even a formal investigation that has been opened against Adani in any of the Indian court. Why is it? Let's understand the whole situation. You have to know 2 entities apart from the Adani Group to understand this case: Azure Power and SECI. Azure Power is an independent power producer and developer and an operator of utility and commercial scale solar. And this is headquartered in New Delhi. This company was listed in US stock markets in New York Stock Exchange. But this company was delisted on November 2023. Now it trades only over the counter and not in NYSE. SECI is Solar Energy Corporation of India. It is a company under Ministry of New and Renewable Energy under the Government of India. It is a public sector company which was established to facilitate the National Solar Mission. So SECI typically conducts competitive bidding and auctions for large-scale solar and renewable projects in India on the behalf of Government of India. So in between December 2019 and July 2020, the companies Azure Power and Adani Group's subsidiary were awarded a manufacturing linked solar project by the SECI. So as part of this project, the US listed company Azure Power has agreed to supply 4 gigawatts of solar power, and Adani was responsible to supply 8 gigawatts of solar power to SECI. So this is a sum total of 12 gigawatts of solar power. To give you a little perspective, this power can light up to 6 million homes and 9 to 10 mid-sized cities in India. So in return to this contract, SECI was responsible for finding state electricity distribution boards which will buy power from SECI. So don't get confused here. The workflow is private companies build and generate power and they get in agreement with SECI to sell the power on a fixed rate. Now SECI has to find a buyer to consume this electricity, and generally that huge amount of power will be consumed by state electricity's distribution boards, and from this state electricity distribution boards the power reaches to your home. The terms of the project obligated the SECI to purchase the power from these private companies at a higher fixed rate. This project was among the largest solar power projects. After this project was confirmed, Adani released a press statement thanking SECI for choosing them. This project was anticipated to generate at least $2 billion of profit over the span of 20 years. Now, according to the deal, the SECI has to buy power from these private companies at a higher fixed rate and sell them to states' electricity boards. But the prices that are there in the agreement are supposedly very, very high. And for the prices that SECI has quoted, they were finding it very difficult to attract any state electricity board, because generally solar power is very expensive to generate. More than generating, storing and transferring of the power that is generated is also a great issue. So naturally the prices are high for solar energy. In perspective of states' electricity boards, there are many non-renewable cheaper options available to them. They don't need to buy solar power, and also if they buy, it will be an additional burden to the state boards, which in turn means a common man's electricity bill will be increased. At the end of the day, the common man will suffer because of the high electricity rates. If there is no buyer of this energy, the SCCI will not enter into PSAs with any of the private companies that produce the power. And if there is no purchaser of this power, then the companies that generated this power will have no revenue and no profits, and hence the project will be failed. Here's where the main conspirators of this scheme come into picture. They devised a scheme to bribe Indian officials, making them to enter agreements with SCCI to buy the power that they are generating. During this scheme, all the co-conspirators were said to have made extensive efforts to bribe Indian officials. In addition to all this, the indictment report says that Gautam Adani has personally met government officials from Andhra Pradesh to make them buy the power from SCCI that they were producing during the period of August 7th, 2021 to November 2021. These conspirators have offered and promised Indian government officials approximately 2000 crore in bribes in exchange to buy power from them. Now the more interesting part, approximately 1750 crore rupees, which is close to 90% of the total bribes, were offered to a government official in Andhra Pradesh, 90%, and making an agreement to purchase 7 gigawatts of energy from SCCI. Following this, the electricity distribution companies from states such as Odisha, Jammu and Kashmir, Chhattisgarh, and Tamil Nadu also entered into agreements. But by far, the largest consumer of this highly priced energy was Andhra Pradesh. So for the people of AP who wondered why their current bills increased during his government, you got the answer. The officials of Andhra Pradesh government were bribed so much that they forgot about an average consumer paying it. Keep all that aside, why is US involved in this? The report says that between 2020 and 2024, the co-conspirators engaged in a scheme to obtain financing from US-based investors for this project. And the report says they misled US investors by false and misleading statements and omissions of involvement of a bribery scheme. Instead, ironically, Adani's financial statements included terms like anti-bribery commitments, where in reality, they were involved in all types of bribery. So to obtain funding and financing for this project, Adani and its subsidiaries have taken syndicate loans from US-based lenders and Indian lenders. They also marketed and sold a bond to the US investors to finance this project. All the necessary documents for each of this financing contain false and misleading statements about their commitment to anti-bribery policies. The US accuses that all the funds that were raised in the US were used for this elaborative bribery scheme. So according to the US, they violated laws such as FCPA, which is a law that prohibits companies and individuals from bribing foreign officials to secure and retain businesses. Foreign officials in this case means Indian government officials. Adani cannot raise money from the US and go use that money to bribe Indian officials. That's a violation of law. They also charged defrauding of investors. Adani misinterpreted anti-bribery policies and has engaged in corrupt practices to secure $1 billion of loans. They were also charged of obstruction of justice. The conspirators allegedly conspired to obstruct justice, which means they tried to tamper evidence, both physical and digital documents. According to the report, there were many mails and electronic messages and even a detailed PowerPoint and Excel on how much both the companies that are involved are to bribe Indian officials. This indictment report has pretty elaborative electronic conversations that were sent by co-conspirators to other people and among themselves. So the US is charging them of all of these cases and many more small and medium charges. This is not the first time Adani is being accused of the US and US based companies. The Hindenburg report that was released in 2023 has called the Adani Group the largest con of corporate history. They were alleged of corporate malpractices, stock manipulation, financial irregularities, accounting frauds, use of offshore companies, misuse of public funds. Though this report caused a massive sell-off in Adani stocks, they immediately recovered after the sell-off. Even after these new bribery charges, Adani stocks were down by 20%. And chances are they might recover that as well. Surprising thing is, even during the Hindenburg report or this new bribery scheme charges, nothing was charged against Adani in Indian courts. Leave about charges. Not even a single investigation case was opened against Adani on Indian soil. All this was happening on Indian soil and nothing came out. I guess that's what happens when you have blessings from Big Daddy of India. I guess you can do anything and get away. It's a long shot that he goes to prison because he has high profile friends in the US as well. When Donald Trump won, Gautam Adani promised to invest billions of dollars and create thousands of jobs in the energy sector of the US. So it's questionable how this case progresses after new government takes up charge in the US. You can read the full indictment report that was filed by the New York court in the description. With that said, that's it for this video. I will see you in the next video. Until then, bye bye.